Let's go straight to Jane Hume now. She is the Shadow Finance Minister. We want to talk to you about the gas policy, Jane. So this modelling is done. I think people are pretty sick of modelling, wouldn't you agree? So how much stock should we put in all of this, given how many times we've been told before how much our electricity prices will come down and just not happening?
Well, Laura, obviously, the last election, Anthony Albanese promised a $275 reduction in power bills, which after the election, he didn't mention the number $275 even once, even though I think it was about 97 times before the election. And in fact, energy bills went soaring through the roof. Gas was up 34%. Electricity was up 32%. We've seen more people go on to energy hardship plans than ever before. That's why the coalition government have said from day one the best way to bring energy prices down is to put more supply into the system. That's what our gas policy will do. It will unlock supply and it will put downward pressure on prices. The modelling that you refer to is important. It's independent. It's done by Frontier Economics, who are highly respected in the energy field. And they have said that it should bring down wholesale gas prices by around 23%. So that will flow through to gas bills, not just for industry, but also for retail and residential, and flow through to electricity prices as well.
Okay, but if we're talking about 7%, 15%, you're not really promising people a reduction. You're just promising that it won't go up exponentially, aren't you? Is that as good as you can do at this point, given how messy the energy system is at the moment?
Well, that's not true. We're actually bringing more supply into the system to bring downward pressure on energy prices. That this is a systemic change. It's not simply providing subsidies that band-aid over a problem. Yeah. And that's essentially all that Labor are promising right now. Okay. Recycling your taxpayer dollar to provide subsidies to people for their failed energy policies.
You've matched that.
This is a new energy policy. Well, that's because this will take some time to go through to the system. We're going to unlock supply, put more gas into the system, and when that happens, wholesale prices will come down by 23%. That will flow through to businesses, that will flow through to residential properties as well, to retail purchases of energy as well. But it will take some time. But you can't simply keep saying, well, our energy policy is going to subsidise the cost of the ever-increasing cost of energy. So this is a systemic change that will bring downward pressure on prices.
Yeah, okay, I accept that. So, and as you say, nothing ever happens overnight with the energy system, and it's certainly not going to change with the gas policy, but over time it will bring it down. So how much time? And will you keep that energy rebate, which has become now a bipartisan feature of the last two budgets, will you keep that until prices come down?
I don't think that keeping subsidies as a permanent feature of our energy system is sustainable. What we want to see is continued downward pressure on prices. How temporary is it, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out. How temporary is it? Well, we would hope that until that gas is into the system and the downward pressure takes place, well, then those subsidies will continue for the year that they are now budgeted for. But then after that, once the gas is in the system, that's when the downward pressure on prices will occur. That will continue. Yeah. And then as those coal-fired power stations begin to retire in the 2030s, well, then they'll be replaced by zero-emissions nuclear energy, which again we know is one of the cheapest forms of energy right around the world. And that has put downward pressure on energy prices in places like Wisconsin, France, all of those places that rely on both nuclear energy as a supplement to renewable energy. And that's how we create a technology mix, an energy mix that not only delivers clean energy, but also affordable and reliable energy as well.
Jane, I think people are pretty sensitive to their power bills coming in once a quarter, absolutely. But can I put it to you that even though it is artificial and it's still taxpayer money, these energy rebates, these subsidies have brought electricity, power bills down across the board by, well, it's around 20%, 25%. If your gas policy is only talking about bringing power prices, retail power prices down by 7%, the real lived experience, even when this is up and running, if you don't keep those subsidies, people are still going to feel like their power bills are going up.
Laura, you can't have an energy system that simply keeps on increasing in price over time and then trying to band-aid over it with subsidies. That's an unsustainable system, which is why we need a circuit breaker. The circuit breaker is going to be injecting more gas supply into the system. That's why we've announced an East Coast gas reservation system that will bring new gas into the system, open up new gas fields as well for those gas producers. By bringing gas into the system, you can consistently put downward pressure on prices. Now, it will take a while to get off the ground, of course, and in the meantime, the subsidies that were budgeted for will continue. However, what we want to see is a change in the overall energy system because, quite frankly, Labor are offering nothing more than the same. And we've seen under them that they lied last election about changing the system to bring a $275 reduction. They failed in doing that. We've seen nothing other than energy prices go through the roof, 32% for electricity, 34% for gas, and Australian businesses and households have paid the price. They're looking for an alternative. They're looking for a solution. This solution brings more supply into the system, puts consistent downward pressure on prices over time.